Hi, my name is Lauren Odigie, and I'm going to be discussing the effects of opioid addiction on the central nervous system. So, the nervous system is basically how we act, how we move, how we think, how we feel. It is a complex connection of nerves that transmit and receive signals throughout the body. So, this includes the brain, the spinal cord, sensory organs, as well as the nerves in between, connecting them all. So, addiction, this alters the brain's normal function and natural state, especially opioid addiction. So, most opioid users start initially to relieve pain. This is done with dopamine. However, opioids produce 10 times as much dopamine as the brain's natural receptors do. So, this is almost an inevitable addiction in a sense. Sorry. This addiction creates a sort of need to have a higher amount each time. And if it's not addiction, it can lead to tolerance or physical dependence. Likewise, opioid addiction affects mood and emotions. So, this imbalance in the long term can make one seem on edge most of the time. It can also call for someone to be aggressive who was maybe not once aggressive. And it can create a sluggish mood, just because opioid addiction, it kind of takes away from the consciousness. So someone may not be actively present. They may be physically there, but mentally they cannot actively respond, actively talk, listen, be present within the conversation and moment. And this is an unfortunate effect on the brain and how our moods and emotions are so heavily affected by what is going into our body. So these mind-altering substances affect our dopamine levels, and these levels are almost essential in how we act as humans in our day-to-day lives. So overall, I will conclude that opioid addiction is detrimental to human functions and human processes, like I said, in daily functions in daily life.
Hi, my name is Melandi Hanley, and I will be talking about the effects that opioids have on the digestive system. From the information you have received so far, you can see that opioids do a substantial amount of damage to the body, especially the digestive system. The digestive system's main function is to break down food into small molecules for nutrient absorption through the small and large intestine to the rest of the body. Well, this cannot happen if opioids are being abused. Even in therapeutic doses, most individuals become constipated. Chronic abuse of opioids results in severe constipation, bloating, vomiting, nausea, acid reflux, swelling to the abdomen, and damage to the bowels. Amidst the rise of the opioid addiction, a new condition has been discovered and directly linked to opioid abuse. It is called narcotic bowel syndrome. This is when a narcotic has been abused so much that it begins to degrade the GI tract, causing extreme abdominal pain accompanied with more swelling. Although this condition is newly discovered and there is still more to learn about it, there is a common denominator: opioid abuse.
Hi, my name is Jenna Weston, and for this group project, our group decided to discuss the effects of opioid addiction on the human body. And we broke it up into different systems, and I'm specifically going to be talking about the respiratory system, which would fall under anatomy and physiology, but we all thought it was an interesting topic, and we decided to talk about it. So, the respiratory system, as most people know, is how oxygen travels throughout our body and into our bloodstream. And the lungs play a very important role in that. And opioid addiction can directly cause inflammation within your lungs, which can, for one, be painful, and for two, can affect the function of them. Also, over time, it can cause respiratory depression, which decreases the sensitivity of peripheral chemoreceptors to CO2, which decreases the activity of the central respiratory centers, which can be very detrimental to the human body because your lungs are extremely necessary for many things, and if the chemoreceptors are not functioning properly, your lungs won't function properly, and that can be bad. A recent study done by a postdoctoral student at Vanderbilt School of Medicine also showed that those with opioid addiction are 60% more likely to suffer from pneumonia than those who are not suffering from opioid addiction. So, opioid addiction can directly affect your lungs, which are a very important organ in your body, and if your lungs are being affected negatively, then it will also affect your way of life. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Kalista Stevens, and I am doing the effects of opioid addiction on the immune system. So, the immune system is the body's defense against infectious organisms, such as diseases or everyday common infections that you could possibly get. Some of the opioids include heroin, morphine, fentanyl, opium, and prescription painkillers. If these drugs are directly inserted into your veins, you could possibly get HIV, hepatitis B and C from the sharing of needles, or bacteria or fungal infections. Some of the effects on the immune system from these drugs are it slows down the immune system's response to these diseases. It reduces the ability to fight the infection and causes someone to get sick way easier. It also reduces cellular immunity, and these drugs over time will be able to act as if they are the immune system cells, which causes someone to get addicted, and you can't get off of these drugs. Some long-term effects are that over time, your immune system will slow down its response time permanently, which will cause someone to get sick way easier when they're older and they're not taking these drugs anymore, because there are less cells to fight off these everyday diseases.
Hello, my name is Andrea and I'll be talking about how opioids affect the reproductive system in both men and women. Now, when it comes to opioids are known as an addictive drug in which can affect their whole body. One of the places where it can affect can be the reproductive system. But when it comes to the woman's side of the reproductive system that can be affected is that women can have a irregular menstrual cycle, and that can be caused by a hormonal disruption. A hormonal disruption can also cause some complications in the body, such as vaginal cancers and early puberty. Also, when it comes to long-term effects, a woman can experience a reduced chance of being fertile. That is also very serious if a woman is trying to consider of having any children. And now when it comes to the opposite side of the spectrum, when it comes to men, men do have less symptoms like in the reproductive system than women do, but they can also be very important. One of these symptoms can be a low sperm count in men. That can be important if they want to try to have kids one day. And also they can experience something called hypogonadism. That is really important because that is when you have a lower amount of testosterone in your system, and testosterone is a very important hormone, specifically in men. So that's also something really to consider as well.